Armadians, or Armadaites, Armada tunes, I'm not sure. I'm Carolyn Sweeney. I'm the president of the Armada Area Chamber of Commerce, although you probably know me best from being the owner of Scrolled Away Books and the admin of I Heart Armada. I'm sorry about that.
Still love you.
One of the most important things we can do as citizens is be informed about who we are electing to our public offices. Right now, the candidates who are up right now are from the Armada Township. If you live in Armada Township, you get to vote. If you live in Armada Village, you are part of the township. Armada Township handles the fire department, the greater parks. Armada, the village, handles our water, if you live in the village, the village roads, the village sewers, the police department, and I'm sure I'm missing out a whole lot of things. But the Armada Township, that's the broader community. We have our first batch of candidates are for trustee. The trustees act as the township's legislatures. They're required to vote on all the issues. The board's primary responsibility is to safeguard the township's financial health. They're responsible for adopting ordinances, adopting the budget, appointing the most of the employees, boards and commissioners, including inspectors and the fire department officers. Others' duties include approving disbursements, authorizing contracts, adopting administrative policies and procedures, filling midterm vacancies, and buying and selling township properties. We have 2 open positions. The candidates are Steve Arnold, Jim Getzinger, Stephen Nichols, and Van Snyder. I don't believe that Steve Arnold is here, but if he's here, he's able to talk. But since he's not here, our first candidate is Jim Getzinger.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for that. Carolyn actually pronounced my last name right, which is very unique. Again, my name is Jim Getzinger. I appreciate this opportunity, and I appreciate you all showing up just to listen to us all talk for a couple minutes. I've lived in Armada most of my life. I grew up here. I graduated from Armada schools, and my parents still live in the community. I have a great family, a wife, and 3 kids. My kids attend here, and they're like everybody's kids are just growing up too fast. So I'm here because I love Armada. I am a civil engineer. I graduated from Michigan Tech with a civil engineering degree, and I use that now I have a very fulfilling job. I'm the public service director for the city of Richmond, and as a public service director, I am responsible for most of the infrastructure in the city of Richmond, and that includes water, sewer, roads, our cemetery, all the buildings, maintenance, equipment, stuff like that. So my job is to maintain and operate those facilities, and I do a lot of work with capital improvements, writing specs, reading and preparing contracts, reviewing plans, stuff like that. As part of those responsibilities, I have a significant amount of interaction with people. I'm responsible for the DPW employees, making sure that they have tasks to do and they complete everything that needs to be done, and support them in those roles. I work with all the other department directors and support them as they have needs throughout the city. And I do, I am responsible to work with the city manager and city council as far as, again, their needs, and I answer to them. I attend public meetings for the city of Richmond regularly, so I'm very familiar with how government operates. I am currently a trustee in Armada Township. I failed to mention that, so I am actually running for re-election. I'm very familiar with budgets. Personally, I prepare and manage approximately $4 million worth of budgets for the departments that I oversee as the DPW director for the city of Richmond. And again, I mentioned a lot with people, but I interact with the public regularly. Sometimes public, they're not happy when I talk to them. Most of the time, they're just looking for advice. They have a problem and they want to know, is there anything that I can do or point them in the right direction? And that's a great part of my job, is trying to help people. Anyway, I do a lot. I also, working for a small city, it's not unique that I would have so many different hats, but grant writing, again, supporting the city manager. To me, trust and respect is something that's earned. It's not something that goes with the title. Or you could also lose respect. There's a quote that it takes many acts to earn somebody's trust and respect, and only one to lose it. And my whole life, not just in my professional career, I've worked hard to try to be respectful and earn people's respect and their trust, and to maintain that. And that's very important here in this position. I think that we need to work together to be effective. I think if we're, get personal, or we can't get along, if we don't see it as us serving others, then it's hard to accomplish tasks. I know that we all have different talents. We all have different skill sets and experiences that lead us, in our lives as we go. But we're all called to serve, to use those talents to serve one another, and that could be at your job. That could be running for office, like we're here today. It could be teaching Sunday school at church, or coaching Little League baseball, just helping your neighbors. All that stuff is very important. Nothing is more important than the other. Being in a position at a township board is not more important than helping your neighbor, at least not in my opinion. I think that's important, that we serve each other in the best way that our talents allow us to. And right now I'm running for trustee because I feel that it'd be kind of a waste with my experience to not help the township. And that's why I feel that I'm called to run for trustee, and that's why I'm here. And there may be a time that, that's past, but in this season, I do feel strongly that I'm here to help my community, and that's what I'm looking to do. The last thing I really just want to say is that I'm not here for myself. I'm not interested in politics. I'm here for the community, and I just think that if we all focus again on that it's not about us, but it's about what's best for the community, I think Armada will continue to be just a great place that it is. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. And our next up, Stephen Nickel.
Sure. Good evening. I want to thank the Chamber of Commerce for having this. I'll step back a second. Is that better? My name is Steve Nickel. I'm married to Renee Nickel. I have 2 daughters. Let me back that up. I apologize because we just celebrated 21 years of marriage. Thank you. I have 2 beautiful daughters, Kenzie and Abby. Kenzie's 20, Abby is 17. Both will be attending Michigan State University in the fall.
Great.
So we will be experiencing empty nesting here in the fall, which will help with my dedication to the township. I'm alumni of 1995, along with my wife. Obviously, both my daughters have gone to Armada. I'm a 40-year resident, which is hard to believe. Moving here as a 7-year-old from the city was rather strange. But being out here this many years, I would never, ever go back to the city. And understanding what it's like to be out here, it's just hard to explain it to people. But once you're here, you understand. I'm a small family business owner with my brother, with my father. We own Orchard Construction down at the end of, at south end of town. We currently employ 14 employees. So with having 14 employees is kind of unique because it allows us to understand what it's like to be around and work with not only customers, but with employees every day. And it's a challenge, but it's a great challenge because we've been able to grow because of that. Some of the key points on being a trustee. One, the main one that I feel is very important is transparency. I would utilize my working skills that I have every day with my customers. They know step by step the key processes to their building. And with them being well informed, all they do is they spread news to every customer that we end up getting because of that. That would be the same with the taxpayers. When they know what's going on, they feel more comfortable knowing that their money is being well spent, that it's not just being wasted, and that they know from day to day what the interactions are going to be. I would also work with the new township board that this is something that's been coming up is about the village. There's never been a really cohesive unity between the two, and I can tell you that that's one of my main goals is getting on the board, is working with the new board to also work with the village. They pay tax just like we pay tax, and I feel that they're neglected, and I would do whatever I can within our means to work with them. I would also like to work on the industrial corridor. Back when I was a trustee before, I had worked on it with Jim, and we had tried to finalize the steps that had been brought before us to try to bring that down the Powell Road. There's a lot of growth that's coming out this way, and I think everybody here can see it. We have still some property that's left that's viable that we need to be able to try to capitalize on. With that being said, we also need to be able to not let our neighboring communities soak up all that growth and we be left with nothing when we have the property to be able to do that. Another item that I'd like to work on would also be code enforcement. I would like to work on reforming the way that the handling of the complaints are done. The system needs to be fair for everybody. It is not just a system that should be utilized for individuals and for what they may need. It needs to be across the board so that it works for everybody. I would also vote not to increase my pay as a trustee. When I was there, I voted no against increasing my pay, and I think it's been that way for all trustees since then. I would continue that and not increase that. I'm certainly not here for the money. In closing, Armada is still a farming community, and we need to be able to keep it rural. Yet we also need to be able to balance the growth that benefits this community as a whole, not as an individual. Thank you very much, and please vote Steve Nickel on August 6th.
Thank you, Steve. And next up is Vance Snyder Jr. There you are.
Hello, Van Snyder. Oh, wow. I talk loud enough, I don't need a mic. Thank you so much for having me and throwing this and doing all the work to make sure the community can come together. My name is Van Snyder. I live off a 32-mile road. The last thing I ever want to do in life is politics at all. It's the honesty that comes with it. I'm a United States Marine Corps veteran. I got out a few years ago, brought my family here. Decided to semi-retire at the age of 32. My wife is currently in nurse practitioner school. She's almost done, but we're taking care of grandma, which her dying wish was to be on a farm, have chickens, and do the farm stuff, which Armada Township flourishes with. I'm not very good at talking about myself. Doesn't matter how much I prepare. I still help small businesses. Part of the Marine Corps is becoming an efficiency expert and helping small businesses gain traction and help facilitate the sale of any small business, large business. Again, not a politician, not very good at public speaking, but I will still hold the core ethics of the United States Marine Corps, which is honor, courage, commitment. I'm not doing this for the money. This is the last thing I need, but I see the unfair and unjust stuff happening on the board, the smearing, the tactics that are childish. Let's come up with some operating procedures and be fair to everybody across the board. That's my speech. I know it's not very good. You guys did an amazing job talking. Van Snyder, I hope I gain your trust. I'll do nothing to break your trust, and you guys will all have my cell phone number 24/7. If you have any issues, I don't sleep. So I'm there for you. That's what I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Van, and don't worry, you did great. Okay, next up we have our treasurer candidates. The treasurer handles the township's accounts receivable department. All the money that comes into the township must go through the treasurer. Treasurer works closely with the clerk, who's considered the township's bookkeeper. In addition to being a voting member on the board of trustees, the treasurer's duties include receiving all the receipts, depositing the township revenue. It is a signer on all accounts. They collect taxes on behalf of the township and other tax levying units, calculating distributions for real and personal property tax, investing surplus funds in approved depositories, preparing the financial statements, and delivering the tax certificates to the township supervisor and county clerk prior to September 30th each year. We have two candidates, Gail Hicks and Monica Job. Sorry. Gail, would you like to come up and, there you are, speak first. Thanks.
Good evening, everyone, and I'd like to thank you as well for, thank everybody that showed up, and thank the Chamber for putting this event together. I think it's great. Sounds like I'm blowing the mic out. I have not lived here all my life, like some of the candidates, but I've lived here for 37 years, which is more than half of my life, and there's no place I'd rather be. In the last 6 years, there have been a couple of major life upheavals that I went through, and what they were isn't really important. It's just that it's one of those, each of them was one of those times where you assess, do I stay or do I go? I stayed, and I'm building my dream home. It's almost finished, yay. And I'm staying because I love it here. It's a beautiful community, and like I said, there's no place I'd rather be. I've been involved locally in civic things for a long time. 24 years ago, I was elected to be the township clerk, and I served in that capacity for 4 years and left office. And since then, pretty much since right after that, I've been on the ZBA, and I've enjoyed that role very much. I've been the chairman for maybe a decade, I didn't do the math, but a while, and I enjoy being involved in the community in that regard and serving in that capacity. For about 2 years, we just wrapped things up a few months ago, but for about 2 years I worked with Armada Community Heart and Soul, and you probably saw us in town, at the parks, at the concerts. We held events all through the village, and our main focus was to talk to the people that live here and get information from them, get their likes and their dislikes, their wants and their dreams. What do you hope? What was your hope for the future for Armada? And I have to say, because I live in the township, I live out on True Road, and I was not as familiar with the particular issues that face the village residents as I am now. That experience was very helpful to me in learning about because there are very unique challenges that face the village that the township residents don't know about. It's two different municipalities, and yet in a way we're one, and so anyway, I would like to say to any of you that participated in any of those interviews, gave us your feedback, stopped and had your pic. I was the fool taking pictures in the freezing cold out in the icebreaker event. That was me. So if you stopped and had your picture taken or said hi or gave us some feedback, I personally really appreciate that, because it educated me on issues that I didn't know enough about, and I feel that now that would make me better as a township treasurer, board of trustees member, because I've had that experience, because I was able to get to know the village better. So that's now, as far as Carolyn pointed out, the treasurer's department is responsible for the money, and what I bring to the table in that regard is that for 32 years, my husband and I ran a very successful manufacturing business. I couldn't turn any of the machines on. That was not my thing. My thing was the money. I was the chief financial officer. He was the chief operating officer. So we made a very good team, and obviously, 32 years, I learned a few things. Now, granted, business accounting and municipal accounting are not exactly the same thing, but I absolutely know my balance sheets and my spreadsheets and my budgets, and because you have to when it's your money, and particularly you have to when it's someone else's money. And in this particular case, it's your money, not my money, so I would be honored if I was entrusted with the job to take care of your funds. The business involved 4 facilities in 2 different states, and sold the business in 2019. So I am sort of retired. I still own the building the business is in, so I guess I'm technically a landlord. But other than that, I would be able to devote my time to the township and the job. I think that pretty much is everything. I'll be here for the duration. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them after everybody else has had their say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail. And next up, we have Monica.
I am so short.
Yeah, gotta bring cameras down.
Got it? We got it? I think you guys can hear me. I'm just a little bit on the short side. It's all good. It is all good. Okay. Oh, can you guys hear? You guys can hear me, right? Okay, that's good. Okay, I am Monica Job. I have lived here all my life, except for the first few years. My husband and I were married. We did live in Richmond for a minute, but I am a former township trustee, then former township supervisor, and I'm back to being a township trustee. I'm a current trustee as it is right now. I am very familiar with the municipal budgets. I am very familiar with what it takes to be a public servant. And that is something I really want to bring back to Armada Township. As a treasurer, I will be present. I will be accountable to our taxpayers, to all of you, our board, and work very closely with our board and make sure that all of the information is absolutely available. Transparency is critical in any role in the township. I am looking forward to learning the BSNA software should I get elected for this position. I'm very looking forward to that. And I think it's very, very, very important that every board member is aware of what is happening in the neighboring communities. It's critical. It's very important that every board member has input. They can only do that if they know what is happening, if all the information is provided to them in a timely and efficient manner. That way the whole board can be absolutely prepared for the public when they come to the meetings, that they're held quickly. When I was supervisor, the average length of a meeting was a little over an hour, because every board member had every piece of information for every vote that was coming up. And I look forward to having that kind of transparency and working relationship with an entire board. I absolutely think that is going to be critical for all of our residents, the village residents, the township residents. So that is me, and if you have any questions, I'm available. Thank you.
All right, our next office is for the clerk. The clerk pays the bills, is the record keeper, and the election manager for the township, as well as a voting member of the board. The following list of duties is required by law: maintains all the township records unless otherwise provided, maintains a general ledger of accounts, records, maintains, publishes township meeting minutes, keeps the township book of oaths, at our bookstore. Our Book of Oaths is something else entirely. Responsible for special meeting notices, keeps voter registration file and conducts elections, keeps the township ordinance book, and maintains the complaint book. And in this hotly contested election, Mary Swacky, you are the incumbent and the only person. If you'd like to come up and introduce yourself to people and...
I think you just told everybody my job.
Together in the chamber. I've been with the township for 19 years. Since 2005, I started in planning and zoning for 3 years. In 2008, I became the township clerk. Elections have evolved over the years, which my office is responsible for administrating. Due to the massive election laws, many clerks have chosen not to run. There are 1,240 clerks in the state of Michigan, and there's 118 positions that no one's running for. Elections have become more complex. We now have 9 days of early voting, which is a huge task that my awesome deputy, Dawn Boyd, and I now have the task of administrating with our dedicated election inspectors. Along with administering the elections, I'm also responsible for the accounts payable for the township, payroll, preparing the board packets, official meetings of the town board meetings, official minutes of the township board meetings, FOIA coordinator. I am an acting voting member of the board, along with many other day-to-day tasks. I am open to and fully support new leadership for the township, as I believe this is best for the township and the village to move forward. I will continue to serve Armada Township and the village with pride as your clerk. If anyone has any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them after speeches. Thanks, Ron.
All right, and now to the supervisor. The supervisor's office duty includes, but are not limited to, sets and chairs all township board of trustee meetings, develops a township budget, appoints members of all boards and commissions, is our legal agent, in charge of supervising assessing, the fire department, code enforcement, building department, planning and zoning, the senior center, the parks, the waste transfer site, hall operations and maintenance, and weather-related closures. We have 2 candidates here tonight, Chris Cratchy and John Patrick. Chris, you're up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the chamber for this event. Jim and Steve, thanks for raising the bar pretty high there. Really appreciate that. My name is Chris Cratch. I'm running for Township Supervisor. Brief story on me. I'm married to my wife, come up for 28 years, Melissa. I have an amazing daughter, Sarah, who's in college, and a son, Jeffrey, who is a firefighter on duty today. To me, family values are huge. My family comes first and always will. But one thing I am benefit is they've always been extremely supportive of me, supportive of my career and everything I do, and for that I'm thankful. My history is, in 1992 I became an EMT, and I worked my way up to become a firefighter paramedic. I worked 25 years in St. Clair Shores, worked all the way up to the rank of battalion chief, where I had for 6 years. In that role I had a lot of administrative duties. I also was very successful with grants in St. Clair Shores, getting $1.5 million. Worked on a lot of committees at the state, committees at the county, and we're very, very effective with that. We're going to retire in 2019, and somebody in the office said, hey, golly gee, Armada's hiring. Okay, filled an application, and I was fortunate enough to get the job. Probably one of my most professional experiences. It was incredible. I got to do some things I always wanted to do. I got to be the chief I always wanted to work for, and I got to work for the community that just blew me away. One of the toughest days in this town was the day that the tornado hit. And one thing I found is this township has character that I've never seen anywhere else, and I wanted to be part of it that day. I watched everybody come out and help each other. I watched everybody raise the bar. Everybody put everything aside and work for the better community. And it was an amazing time. And that's the time I decided this is my forever place. And I begged my wife. We bought our forever home. We live on Wilcott. I plan on raising my kids until they move out, watching my kids get married, grandkids come in, and enjoying the time here. So why public service? Because I'm not done. It was an amazing 4 years, but I realized it was time. I had almost 30 years in the business of fire and over 30 in EMS, and it was time. It was time for me to move on and let somebody else take the lead. And I realized that. A lot of little details in that, but it was time. But I'm not done. I've always served my community, and I want to continue doing that. And I wanted to serve Armada. I think I have a lot to bring to the table. I'm passionate, and I want to give 110%. I don't believe in a 40-hour work week. That's the start. The good stuff happens after that, and that's always the way I've been. And I want to bring that to this community. We've been going door to door and talking to a lot of people, and it's the big issues we've been getting over and over again is we want to keep the culture of this department. We want to keep it small. Of the township. We want to keep it small. We want that country feel. We don't want, a Walmart or McDonald's coming in, and I appreciate that. Same reason I came here. Other thing they said is they want to work with the village. And what am I going to do to work with the village? Get elected. I have a great rapport with the village, and I always have. The village president's endorsed me, several of the council has. So on day one, it will be a difference because I will work with them. Keep taxes down. How is that done? That's done through being smart with your money, finding alternative resources. In my career as a firefighter completely, I've been part of $3 million in grants. This year alone, I've worked with 9 departments in Macomb County and 1 in Oakland. I've wrote $6 million in grants for these departments, 3 of which border us, working with the chiefs. I continue to do that, working with these departments, finding alternative ways to fund. Grants are the biggest thing about grants is it's your tax money brought back to the community, and my goal is to get that and make it functional. 100-day plan. What's the first 100 days I want to do? First is restore relationship with the village, restore relationships with citizens that feel disenfranchised. Be accessible. Have office hours. You want to come talk to me, talk to me. If you can't make it during office hours, come after hours. I want to create an atmosphere for the citizens to feel comfortable. I want to reach out to citizens. I want to reach out to groups, community groups, get input, have them be part of the solution of the problems we have. And the biggest thing is I will be present. I will have office hours. If you need me, you'll find me. I will be transparent. Any document you want, anything you want to talk about, I will be available and there to do so. One of the things I've also been very involved with is throughout my career as a firefighter and as a chief is I've been always involved with county levels, state levels, and federal levels. I think we need to do more to be on these committees. While I was on one of the committees in emergency management, I was able to get $21,000 to put a generator at the senior center. We need more involvement in these communities, on these committees, and be part of it so we find where these monies are and the resources are and how we can get it. And the biggest thing I'm going to work my butt off for you. I'm going to give it everything I got. Everybody else is going to come first. I have no ego, and I just want to serve. So what I have found is difficult in the community right now is the tension. The tension at the township hall, the tension in politics, and it's personalities. I put that aside. One of the things I did when I was out of the fire department is I took some of the people that were most critical of the fire department and became some of our biggest advocates. That's what I want to do in the township. And there's also this, social media thing is the most dangerous thing in the world. And I won't engage. If people are wondering why I don't step in, why I don't answer, because I'm not engaging in it. If you want a question, ask. So what I'm going to do next week is there's 2 dates. Monday and Tuesday of next week is the Tiger's Den. From 3:30 to 4:30, I will be there, accessible to answer any questions you want. Because I believe that's important. I know this isn't a question and answer time, and I'd love to have that opportunity to sit down with people. Anything that you heard that's out there, I'm more than happy to address. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
Get that back a little bit, getting a weird feedback.
John? John, you're up next. John's our incumbent.
You want me to turn that down a little bit?
No, I think it was just the way that it was faced.
Oh.
Thank you, Carolyn and the Chamber, for putting this on. Thank you, Lord, for talking to Mother Nature and bringing this day to us. It's a beautiful weather. What it really comes down to is most of you have known me for years. I'll do my best to get through this in a few minutes because it's like I told Carolyn, after 16 years, it's hard to pack it into 5. It's about 12. I moved our family here in 1990. Both of our kids graduated from Armada High School. I relocated our business, Patrick Molding and Engineering, in 1993 and started the second business, Northern Services and Associates, LLC. When our daughter started school, I became involved in her education. I spent 11 years as a parent advisory committee member at the MSD to help with our special needs programs in our district and statewide. This has a lasting effect on what we offer to our special needs kids today. I served on the Armada Civic and Trade Association, the Armada Business Association. I'm a member of the Chamber, 20 years member of the Armada Lions Club, chairman of the Village Downtown Development Authority for 10 years, and your supervisor for 16. I was first elected in 2008. While on active, we did a lot of things. Scholarships, signs entering the village, even the pavilion in the village park, where they have concerts in the park. This was done with active's remaining funds after they voted to stop operating. There's a very special project that still remains today that Pat Tyson, Gary and Sharon Roncelli, Nancy Bliss and the Queen and Court, the Armada Fair Board, the Armada Lions, and myself started, was the Lighted Country Christmas Parade. Today, Holidays has become an event no one wants to miss. It was started as a gift to our community for the support for all of their things that we have ever asked for help with. Still a gift today. How I got involved in the supervisor's position wasn't politics, wasn't wanting to be somebody. I didn't even know the job paid. But there was a lot of resistance to gaining final approval on the Ackett's Handmade Pie Company, a cafe on North Avenue. So they explained to me that they had already spent well in excess of $13,000 and still were not getting anywhere. So I decided to start attending our meetings. They did approach me because I was the chairman of the DEA. The village does not have say in the township, and vice versa. The township does not have say in the village. So rather, I ran for office in 2008, and they received their approval at our second meeting. In my first term as supervisor, I worked with our volunteer fire department to transition to full-time firefighter paramedics with 24/7 coverage, made possible by learning what was necessary to provide the services to our community. Don and Judy Barron, who were heavily involved in the Armada Civic and Trade Association, actually Don was the president, had a heart attack. He passed away, and Judy felt very strongly that if we had ALS and didn't wait for ALS to get here, that he quite possibly could have survived. So I spoke with Steve Kowalczyk from Sterling Fire and Bob Stankovitz from Bruce Fire to learn about what was necessary to provide ALS. We purchased the necessary equipment with money that Judy Barron donated, which was about $22,000 and a few $100s we earned at a spaghetti dinner. And we got it. We got it to go. Our first three firefighter paramedics were Fire Marshal Kevin Cannell, still with us, Tom Bobstein, and Jeremy Warbalewski. I still refer to them as heroes. They took the first jobs for $10.50 an hour. We now have 12 full-time positions, so we can staff all three shifts with 4 firefighter paramedics on a shift. I also secured a $48,000 gift from Bruce Township from unused CDBG funds. Sue Brockman shared that with me and said it was available if we could use it. We did not, or we did, and we paid off the ambulance station on Center Road. We also partnered with Bruce Township to run a second 12-inch water main down 33 Mile Road from the meter pit by M53. This gave us a 16-inch water main in our township on the southeast corner of 33 Mile Road in Powell. This was done by following our master plan's directions. We did attempt to do the same with sewer, but it didn't pan out with Romeo's first right of refusal. I'm exploring new options for its use now. Well, in my first term, we were just finishing up the downtown reconstruction project with the DDA board. The project that installed everything from new street lighting, historically accurate, and the complete replacement of both sidewalks and the intersections. This made all but 2 buildings ADA compliant. The updates to the project included bump outs at both ends of the main street to provide a pinch point to slow traffic and to provide for a safer crossing. Wire conduit underneath the sidewalk for the community Christmas tree so that there were no overhead wires. A sound system that was wired into the street lights for the downtown events and for Christmas music. Watering irrigation systems to keep the bump outs watered and well maintained. Throughout my past 4 terms, I have secured a strong planning commission with a good planning practice to help foster business and job growth. In the overlay district, it was allowed for more commercial opportunities. Now Blake's has become the new standard for agribusiness and agritourism in Michigan. This will also help us to seek grants to help with traffic and pedestrian traffic. Please keep in mind, there are more employees at the Blake's 2 locations than in our entire downtown. That is too important not to have. We have another business, Miller Farms, that is utilizing the overlay district to help diversify his ability to maximize his potential and protect his investment. We have funded many significant projects in your township park. We have annual service to the restrooms and water system to prevent damage due to water freezing in the toilets and pipes. Added a new ball field when Loveday Field closed. Then added scoreboards and lighting to the east field in partnership with the Armada Baseball Association. Removed all of the brush and scrub trees along the river in part with a grant from ITC. Added a small pavilion in that area. Installed a new BMX skate park with partnership with the Armada Board and Bike. Installed 3 phases of playground equipment, one in partnership with Friends of Armada. Provided areas for Jason Freewald and Iron Mike's memorials. Then paved the sidewalks to provide ADA access. We installed a sidewalk path on the north side of Armada Center Road, across from the end of Burke Street, to access the park. Future projects include rebuilding the senior center parking lot, the entrance into the park, that will include a passing lane on the southbound lane. Working on grant opportunities to improve the traffic flow in Romeo Plank, Center Road, and K-Pac Road. Working with Mr. LaFonda to develop his 33 acres on Latham Drive, called the Latham Development, and hope to get ULIX to help because they mentioned they could use the water for fire suppression in their building. Some of the things that have been said is that the township never works with the village. In this case, especially me. I spent 30 years working on our downtown. I have always respected it as our only retail area. The village says we take all of their money and we don't get anything for it. Not really the case. The village contributes $40,000 annually, and we use that to help run assessing, parks and recreation, senior center, elections, and the transfer site. The claims that I lost our industrial district and its revenue to annexation is not the case. The annexation was initiated by a property owner, and it does not remove them from the township, nor does it make them tax exempt. Just to make you aware, the taxable value in 2016 of our township was $292,706,000. In 2024, it's $398,308,000. The taxable value up over $105 million. In 2016, the DDA, which is the village, was valued at $5,425,188. Yep. Okay. In 2024, the DDA is now valued at $8,143,000, which is $2,700,000 more. The DDA capture this year is $60,500. So, to make a long story short, there's been a very significant value to our community. It's always been great. People have always done a wonderful job here, and you're right. The community is worth fighting for. It's never needed to be great. It is great. It's always been great. I lived here forever. I love this place. I think all of us do. Thank you for your time, and vote John Patrick, or at least give me another opportunity.
Thank you all for coming out. Would you please stay for some extra cookies and bottled water, and feel free to talk the ears off of all the candidates. That's what they're here for. Thanks, everybody.